Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh, and in this video we shall discuss the current affairs and gazette for today, that is 21st December 2021. Before we begin, welcome to everybody who are live here on the chat. Good evening Netra, good evening Sam, good evening Ashish, good evening Amlan, good evening Chitanshi, good evening Preeti. Hi Kriti, welcome back. Hello Bhabani. Yes, so So welcome to all of you. Welcome to the people who are online but not writing on chats. Welcome to everybody. You must have participated in the video that Shabir sir was in just a while back. He spoke so well about the various processes involved. Hello Ravi, good evening to you. He spoke about the processes involved in collection of data and then to be able to process it and then recollect it, after that reproduce it in the examination. And that's what we are doing here. There are a lot of things that we are already doing for you, that is creation of the data, making you understand all those things. All is required for you is to be able to put that down, jot it down. That is the kind of access that we do, that we provide, and also an interactive chat for you. So what else do you need? All you need is to be able to collect that data, revise it, and try answer writing, right? So I was seeing the chat while in the conversation. I was also seeing the chat that students were writing to sir. So many of them face the problem of being able to write answers. They have current affairs prepared, but they don't know how to incorporate them in the answers. So this is what we do here, right? We bang on, hit the nail, right? So we look at ADEC principle for anything that we study, any current affairs, right? So that's where we'll begin again today itself. Good evening Ravi, hello Manvendra, hi Prince, good evening Nikhil, good evening to all of you. So let's begin this conversation, right? I have shared that particular thing that Sam was asking for, and other people also in the chat that they can look for, right? All right, and then we begin the conversation, right? Chitanshi, I'll let you know about PubAt course details tomorrow. So let's begin this. Now, some interesting articles that we have from the newspapers collected today are and some of them just 1 or 2 days back as well, but they form a lot of relevance. First is on future trading on inflation. This is future trading is affecting the prices of the food products in India, and that is the reason that SEBI has ordered that future trading be banned in certain agriculture commodities. Imagine that. We will understand this. The second one is the multi-state cooperative societies. We will understand what is their function, why are they in question right now. And the third one is an update on India's missile capability. India's defense ministers, other ministers have also spoken that India must have hypersonic missile capability. We will understand that. Feature news for today is on age of marriage. What is the right age of marriage and what is not? It has been hotly debated, and we have presented our feature news for today on age of marriage to be presented immediately after this video in the next video, right? So we will understand why the government went ahead with increasing the age of marriage from 18 to 21. What were the various provisions of it? What has been the contention of the counter group? What is the counter argument for this increase in age? Prima facie it seems that it's a good move, but what has been the counter argument, and what can we go beyond the age of marriage and the legality and look into the social constraints? So we will understand this in totality in feature news for today. All right, interesting one and very important current affairs. In fact, today afternoon 3 o'clock it was in the news that now this particular bill has been now recommended to a select committee, a committee for its wider scrutiny. Image of the day is on a Buddhist side explored lately, right? Terms and concepts that we discussed today are the Indian desert cat, and then tag for being breastfeeding friendly. This is for hospitals. And the third one is a Mormugao stealth destroyer that India has now had. And the fourth is an update on Bullock cart racing. The editorials that we have for today are one on the rising inequality in our country, a quick update on that. And then Russia, European Union, USA, India, and China equation. What is the equation between these 5 countries? We'll discuss this one in a little detail. And then the third one is on the pandemic treaty, right? Pandemic treaty on waiver of the intellectual property rights through WTO. What are the issues? Today's case study is that of women empowerment. We will understand what this girl has done even when she didn't have school in her own village, right? And she was the first one to take that step ahead. being a female. So we will understand this, right? So let's begin this conversation. You guys with me? The first snapshot is on future trading on inflation. Just a few days back, we had studied a complete feature news. It spoke of WPI inflation, wholesale price index inflation, going far above as compared to the consumer price index inflation. This is something that is not seen in the market lately, right? Very seldom it is seen, and we had discussed a complete feature news on this, right? We had explained what is WPI, what is CPI, why WPI is going 12% and CPI is around 5-6%, right? So this was a different news, but a related news to this is the fact that the consumer price, the consumer the price that consumer pays for certain goods, that price has increased. And we are specifically talking of the agricultural products. So agricultural products, 7 products in specific: wheat, chana, mustard, soybean, crude palm, moong and paddy. ये याद नहीं करना, ये लिखना नहीं है. I'm just making you understand that these 7 products, for this is the reason that SEBI has said that the future trading in these products will not be done now on. If you have traded already, then you can square your position. Squaring the position means that if one has traded already, they can complete the trade and they can finish off. So this is significant because SEBI has found that it is very much possible that if you are indulging in future trade for these items, this is increasing the cost of these items. So what is future trade? Now, if today itself I make a contract for future saying that after 2 months I will be purchasing this particular product, and this is based on speculation. What are the kind of speculations we have? One speculation is what is the world market scenario. Another speculation could be on the rainfall pattern. Another speculation could be the corona future projections. Many speculations like this. Productivity of the crop, locust attack, all of them are significant. They play a role in speculating the prices of agricultural commodities in future. Similarly, there is future trading in other products also, other commodities like oil, like metals, various products. So this time SEBI has said that I will command that future trade that you do in agricultural products, these key pharma items, because there is increase in the consumer price for futures, right? So this is the regulation that has been placed. Now, how will you use this information? You will be just writing that SEBI has ensured that no new positions will be taken. New position means new contracts will not be entertained. It has suspended the future trade in 7 key commodities to control inflation. This is a very important move, right? So all you have to do here is take an example. See, these are very less used examples. What is the cause of food inflation? People talk of rotten food products. People talk of supply chain issues, but have we ever spoken of a thing like this? No. So this becomes an important pointer, an important issue of the 4 or 5 food inflation issues that you talk of. Just write that SEBI pointer and future trade, right? So I've also explained to you a quick understanding of what future trade is about. These agreements are legally binding, and mind you, future trades are all also risky because of the same reason, right? We lose a lot of money and people also gain a lot of money in these kind of speculations. So one of the reports of RBI, it said that it has a destabilizing effect on the spot market. How the speculation works is something like this. We speculate the prices for future. Suppose today's price is 10 rupees for suppose 10 rupees. The future price will be speculated at 13 rupees, and it has not gone up, but the speculation will be such. Somebody else will say, all right, somebody is speculating it to be 13 rupees. That means it is definitely going to do well. Somebody will speculate it to a higher price. Because of this, there will be a spiral effect in increase of prices for future. And this is all a bubble. This is not happening. People do not know what is going to happen in future. And at the moment, at the end, the current prices also will soar because of these kind of reasons, right? So this is only an example. The way prices can go up, the similar way prices can come down as well, right? Hope you have understood what I have mentioned, right? This is also the recommendation of Abhijit Sen committee. See, so when we talk about future trade and food products, Abhijit Sen committee, ye bhi yaad rakhna, theek hai? So these are one of the last resorts when trading also is banned, right? One of the last resorts. And yes, if we have a good harvest season, we might, as well continue in these kind of speculations, because if the harvest is good, products are many, indulge in trade, future trade, no problem. Right? So this is it. Let me see if yes, Zerodha has two options, hold and possession. Okay, so yes, it does. Zerodha has two options there. All right, let me see if somebody has written something here. Babani says Shabir sir session was awesome like always. I just became a fan apart in this session. Oh, great to know. There is James Bond. Yes, he is. There is James Bond. Somebody called him Salman Khan as well. Somebody said Salman Khan looks like you, sir, not the other way. They didn't say you look like Salman Khan. Salman Khan looks like you, sir. All right. Multi-state cooperative society. Why are they in news? Very much in news. They are in news because of multiple things. Just 2 days back, the last week we had studied that urban cooperative societies, you guys were there, I remember. You guys, all of you chatting were there. Urban cooperative societies are not getting, under some regulation only because they are cooperative societies. They are multi-state cooperative societies, and we do not have an umbrella institution which is able to control urban cooperative bodies, commercial banks. Similarly, there are other kind of cooperative societies also which are multi-state, right? What is Amul? Operating in various states, right? But it is not regulated by a state cooperative. It has to be regulated by a central agency. Because of this, there are huge inconsistencies. And let me give you some examples. Now, if a cooperative, if suppose this is the map of India, suppose if this is the map of India, quickly drawing it for you, right? If this is the map and this is an urban cooperative society of Maharashtra state will be able to regulate the operations of the society. It will also demand for reports from this particular society. It will also ensure that if it is going beyond its regulation, it controls it. So there will be government administration control over this society. But if it is a multi-state society, so if this society is located in Maharashtra but operates in Gujarat, Maharashtra and Rajasthan, these three states, in this case, this society operating in these three states will not be regulated by Maharashtra government. It will have to be regulated by central government and central laws. And the irony is that we do not have a central institutions which is having sufficient manpower, sufficient jurisdiction. They have in writing they have this jurisdiction, but they do not have physical offices for appeal, for demand, for issues. You have to come to Delhi, and because of this, the government is disturbed. It is perturbed with the kind of corruption that multi-state cooperative societies they entail, right? So this is why very painstaking issue, that because of which many of the cooperative societies have been closed, and many of them have there are cases lodged against them. See, Center has decided to amend the act to take action for winding up 44 multi-credit societies in 9 states and union territories over non-repayment of funds. So these cooperative societies are taking in loans, but they are not returning the funds. Most probably they are into corruption and they are not even regulated. So central registrar is the one who regulates these kind of multi-state cooperatives. Not good, right? So these are the issues. They are, the membership is in many states. Many locations is where they have offices and they are controlled by, one central entity who does not have the proper workforce, who does not have offices. So this is where central government is going to amend the law and increase the accountability of these offices. As I mentioned, that if it is a state cooperative society, they are accountable. They have to present a report as well, right? So see, the only office is in Delhi for central registrar. They can allow inspection. If it is a multi-state cooperative society, only central registrar will allow inspection. So these are the multiple issues. You have understood the issues. Now, only if you only know 3-4 issues, you will be able to expand them in an answer, right? And suggest recommendations. This was my point. So do remember multi-state cooperative society. What are the issues? Now, so what is the government doing for this? Extensive consultation between people using technology. Now, remember, if you remember the urban cooperative banks we were talking of, they do not use technology also. So they will be using technology here and increasing the manpower or widen the base. Right? Now, there is one issue that is called as the issue Yes, federal issue, right? This is where the state will start questioning central government is taking power away from us, right? So this is the update on the multi-state cooperative societies. Hope this is clear. Okay. Then we have IFCO. Amlan says IFCO #1 cooperative in the world. Absolutely, we had covered this. NS Vishwanathan Committee. Yes, Ravi, we had covered Vishwanathan Committee recommendations. Absolutely, very good. If you guys, keep on talking about all these things that we had covered and keep revising this, I will sing for you people. I'm telling you, and I sing well. I do sing well. Sir might be a James Bond, but I'm no less of a Sonu Nigam, right? So, and if you don't believe me, then I will sing for you one day and you will find that. Currently, Amul is regulated by which agency? See, Amul is a multi-state cooperative society, no? Amul is a cooperative society, this is for sure. And it is a multi-state. So, as I understand, it is regulated by the central registrar only. Also, one thing to understand, not only that, the consultation is on, see, which of the kind of companies are involved here? Many of the companies involved in these kind of multi-state activities are sugar industry, see, sugar cooperatives, milk cooperatives, bank, milk unions, see, their area of operation are spread across more than one state. So goes for Amul as well. So goes for Mother Dairy as well. So a few more ideas which the government is trying to propose is to have a streamlined mode of assessment, quality assessment of the product, QA, quality assessment and check of the product. So right now there is no check if it is a multi-state cooperative society. Imagine Amul might be doing a good work, but not every multi-cooperative society, multi-state. So these are the kind of issues that we are facing, right? All right. The third one for today is India's missile capability, right? So we have studied quite a few of missiles of India. This is a quick understanding about what India has and what India wants, right? So the defense minister has said that we must start working on hypersonic missile technology. We had studied, that China has developed this hypersonic missile technology, and this missile can traverse, if this is China, it will traverse the whole earth once, and then after that it will hit the space. It is a supersonic. See, since it is hypersonic, it is more than 5 times the speed of sound. Speed of sound is around 1200 kilometers per hour. So it's more than 6000 kilometers per hour. Right, this equates to how much? 1.6 kilometers per second. Do not note this, just sharing this with you. I am going to make the right comparison in a very short while. So 1.6 kilometers this missile will travel in 1 second, the hypersonic missile. Now this is a quick understanding about India's missile integrated guided missile development program under Mr. APJ, ex-president APJ Abdul Kalam. So repeating some of the important excerpts of the missile program that we have. Nag, anti-tank missile. It is an anti-tank missile, and this is a guided missile, fire and forget technology. That means once we fire it, we do not even need to look back. Destroy hua ki nahi, it will get destroyed. So it will follow the heat signatures or infrared signatures. It will also get directed because of the signals it has received, a good range. And then Heli-Nag is the one which is operated through helicopter anti-tank. It will operate against tank or any moving object on the earth, which is heavily armored, heavily protected. And then we have also got another variant called as Sant. What is Sant? So one can deliver it like a bazooka, like an RPG, right, from the shoulders. I wish I had a photograph to show, and I don't have one right now. Right, and then we also have medium range SAM, surface to, see, SAM stands for, SAM is also one of our regulars, and SAM is also surface to air missile, and then we have SAS, surface to surface missiles, right? So we have been inducting these kind of missiles through DRDO testing, most of them being indigenous, right? And then we have air to air. So this is fired from one of the aircraft to another aircraft, Astra, beyond visible range Astra. Right. Similarly, we have air to ground Rudram, air to ground anti-radiation missile. So this is something new. And I would like to star mark because this is an upcoming technology. What are we trying to do through Rudram is through air we are going to fire a missile which will be anti-radiation missile. So any place which is emitting radiations, signals, right? Signals, we are talking of signals which are radiated from signal sources for communication. It will destroy that particular place through Rudram. India is still developing this. We also studied supersonic missile assisted torpedo technology. If you remember, I had spoken about this, that the ship will be delivering this missile into the air. It will go to a certain place, get inside the water, and then the torpedo will function afterwards, right? Then we also have developed Brahmos. Brahmos is the combination of word Brahmaputra and Moskva, right? MOSFET. These are the two rivers, and after that the missile has been named. Now we also have Agni and Prithvi. These are the prime missiles that we have. Two important missiles, our own missiles that we developed. Prithvi is another important missile for a smaller distance, carries a heavy payload. Agni also heavy payload, but it is possibly an intercontinental ballistic missile. Prithvi is a shorter range, 200, 500, 800 kilometers, but Agni is a potential intercontinental ballistic missile. Right now we have Agni going up to 5,000 kilometer distance, 5,000 kilometers. And both of these missiles, in fact, many of these missiles, they can also have a nuclear warhead, right? So a missile will have a nuclear warhead, the front will be nuclear, and then it will also have technologies, for example, it will have fuel, and then it will also have integrated chip for its guidance. These are some components of the missile. Now, what I really wanted to point to you people, because you people are exclusively for the videos here, is the difference between the cruise, ballistic and hypersonic missiles. Why is India focusing on a new generation of missiles? फिर खरीदना पड़ेगा, फिर पैसे बर्बाद होंगे. Maybe we spent so much on cruise missiles and ballistic missiles. Now hypersonic has come. So what is the issue that we have to get into a different technology now? You guys were there with me? Okay. So the reason is this, that the cruise missile, they actually cruise at lower altitude, right? They are direct to direct from one place to another, but their speed is not very high. Their speed is low. So they ideally operate at around 200 meters per second, very fast, and they are short range also as compared to ballistic and hypersonic, right? But cruise missile, they cannot be easily detected. This is their advantage. This is their advantage. They fly very, very low and for shorter range, right? So 100, 200 and 500 kilometers is, ideally you should fire a cruise missile point to point. Ballistic missile is based on projectile movement. So once we fire from Earth, right, projectile, it goes up high in the sky and then comes back on the Earth, right? And this is a very fast missile, but it can be detected because it is going high up in the sky. Cruise would travel very close, right? Say hardly 50 meters, 100 meters, 150 meters above the ground. Very tough to detect in the radar, but ballistic can be detected, although having very high speed. Imagine the speed of ballistic missile is around 5 kilometers per second, 5 kilometers per second. That is the kind of speed you're talking of in the ballistic missiles. But hypersonic missiles right now are around 1.6 kilometers per second. So hypersonic missiles can be detected, but they have certain different capabilities. For example, since they are smaller, they'll be easily maneuverable. So maneuverability, their movement is serpentine. This is one, and because of this, they and if we have speed also in hypersonic missiles, if we gain speed, then their detection might happen, but their intervention or what we call as interception, that will be very tough. So that is why trying to build hypersonic missiles, right? So this is the update, and this is what India is now looking forward to. So these are the 3 snapshots we have for today, right? All right, great. You guys with me? Nice to know. This day in history dedicated to Madame Curie. Why? Because Madame Curie and her husband, because this was the day they discovered radium. She was the first lady to have gotten the Nobel Prize for chemistry, and later again for physics, right? So yes, so that is the reason. I think, no, it is the other way around. I think she got it for physics first and then later for chemistry. And overall, she dedicated, in both the ways, she dedicated her life to the research on radium, how radium can be used for development of humanity. So one of the very pioneers in female empowerment in the era of male dominated world in the 19th century. Imagine, right? So Madame Curie. Feature news for today is on age of marriage, right? What is the ideal age? I will also seek for your recommendations. What is your opinion on these kind of topics? What is your opinion? Should this age increase or not? And this actually, is an issue which is quite tough to resolve. Yes, that is the word, complex. It is a complex paradox of Indian society that increasing age has been questioned, but questioned on the right grounds or not. This is the logic that we'll talk about, right? So wait for that feature news. We will be quick in this coverage as well so that we begin the feature news also. The only lady to receive Nobel in 2 fields. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Chitanshi. In fact, receiving Nobel twice itself, it's a big feat. Very few people are able to achieve this. Gives me goosebumps. India has hardly 6 people, including those Indians or those people who went abroad and gained the citizenship of some other country, and just few people, and she got 2 Nobel herself, right? All right, image of the day is on a very, very old Buddhist site that has been discovered in Andhra Pradesh, Kodavali, right? Now, many of these sites, they were explored earlier by British explorers. They, when Britishers came to India, they not only came here to conquer the whole country and, to purify the whole society through white's man burden, but they also were good explorers. So, one good example of exploration was the exploration of Ajanta. Another good exploration example is this site itself, 2003-year-old Buddhist site. Do you think this can be asked in the UPSC? Ajanta was asked. It was in news. We had covered that. It was in news because the Ellora and Ajanta paintings, they were getting destroyed because of extreme rainfall in Maharashtra, Aurangabad district. And that is the reason, they asked which is the river flowing aside Ajanta. Yeah, we didn't cover the river aside Ajanta, but, we don't claim a question like that. Right? But we covered a theme like that in current affairs. So what does it send you a signal? The signal here is you should definitely look at those sites, or your inquisitive mind should start reflecting at how the Buddhist in India gained prominence, or Buddhism gained prominence. So in this case also, Buddhism gained prominence because a local ruler offered gifts to monastery and constructed wells for monks. See, so you have to start linking your intellectual mind with the current affairs. So this is one of the news that is in focus. This is just an image of the day. All the other news, what you have to pick up is data. But in case your intuitive mind says that no, I need to do little more research, just type on Google or refer to your own notes about how this whole conversion happened, why Buddhism to Hinduism, or why Hinduism to Buddhism in the first place, 6th century BC, and then back from Buddhism to Hinduism, what happened because of which people had to change again. So these are the kind of things which will get revised for you if you have not, if you have not revised it for a long time. And if you don't know, just read an article, it will help you, right? So moving ahead to terms and concepts. The first term for today is Indian desert cat. Look at this cat, Indian desert cat. This cat has first time been found in Madhya Pradesh. A desert cat, this has got special features in the body which aids it to survive in desert regions, right? So it does not need a lot of water to drink. It has claws which can help it survive on desert lands. And now this species is least concerned in IUCN Red List, right? And Appendix 2 and Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act, right? Sites may, it is Appendix 2 and Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act, right? So the point I'm making here is that this species has for the first time been found in Madhya Pradesh, and that is why in news. Tag for being breastfed feeding friendly hospital, right? So this tag has been now introduced in our country, and hospitals will be encouraged to have this tag. You know why? See, what happens is that there is something called as colostrum, right? So colostrum, this is the milk derived from the mother, and this milk is very much rich in protein and certain those vital, very, very vital minerals which a newborn, a neonatal, in fact a very newborn child must drink in the first hour itself, in the first hour of birth. But if you remember why this is a news, I would like to share that. What happens is that many of the births that are happening are C-section births. Remember, we had covered the increase in cesarean births in India, especially in private hospitals, right, throughout the country. In fact, one of my friends, very close friends, she gave birth to twins yesterday. Again, C-section. So point being that this C-section leads to many kind of issues also in the body. And immediate issue is that, since it is a surgical procedure, it leads to recovery. It needs some time for the woman or the new mother to recover. And because of this, the first hour of milking the child, it does not happen. And this is very essential for the mother and the child both. It is very essential. So this is why the hospitals which are encouraging this, right? Because when C-section happens, immediately the idea is to ensure that the mother comes out of the hospital and out of the surgery state, recuperation happens faster. So the idea is to increase the baby friendliness in the hospital, baby friendly hospital initiative of an NGO, right? And they're going to tag all the hospitals, private hospitals, to ensure that this kind of treatment is meted out in the first hour. Becomes very, very important. So now you know what it is about. According to NHFS survey, there were 88% institutional births, only 41% were breastfed within the first hour. See, institutional births happened, but one reason was C-section, and many reasons were also like non-preparation of not being aware, right? So this is the thing. Bhavani says something. Bhavani says recently Indian Great Bustard also was in news. Yes, Indian Great Bustard was in news. And Chetanshi says the only lady, okay, Pooja, Hinduism is tough. Okay, Hinduism is tough. She's speaking in relevance of the article. We will understand it is about the Indian society in totality, but also women rights, right? We will understand this. Netra says, yes, sir. Bhavani says, Great Indian Bustard. Yes. Why is Great Indian Bustard in news? Great Indian Bustard was in news because the Supreme Court had told the government, yes, I could not cover this, and thank you for reminding this, because I really want to cover a little more than whatever is on the magazine. The context of this, why it is in news, a little more so that you understand there is an incentive for you to be here. And in this, we cover the process. So I would sometimes also want to include some other, current relevant articles as well, so that you gain more perspective. Great Indian Bustard is the state bird for the state of Rajasthan. Just in a few numbers, it is in few hundreds that it exists. And the reason, and that is why it is a critically endangered species, very, very popular and very, very, as I mentioned, critically endangered species. Now, what about Great Indian Bustard is that it is almost near the verge of extinction is because it has been affected because of 2-3 factors. One factor is its habitat destruction, right? So conversion of the fields where it would stay into urban areas, or those areas which are residential now, food source limited, and over that one important factor because of development, that is the overhead cables. Overhead cables is what led to their death. Overhead cables. So that is why Supreme Court said, please ensure that the cables are put underground. And the cost of putting the cables underground is very high. So there is a conflict between the government state and the Supreme Court. The government said it's very costly for us. So what do you want to do? Protect the Great Indian Bustard or protect the finances? Ethical dilemma. See? Environment versus development. Environment versus economy. So good. Thank you for raising this question. All right. Don't worry. I understood the name. GIB. All right. Then Mormugao. Now this is one of the stealth destroyers that we have. Stealth destroyers. Destroyer ship, right? So India is increasing its naval capacity in comparison to China. We are less in comparison to Pakistan. We are definitely better, but China is assisting Pakistan. As I had mentioned previously, 14%, only 14% of our defense budget goes to Indian Navy. But yes, in that we have tried to explore more. So this is a stealth guided missile destroyer. See, stealth means its detection will be, it can evade detection. It will be easy for it to evade detection. How does it evade? So what ideally happens in these kind of stealth vehicles, stealth planes or stealth ships, is that when an incoming, a radar emits, radiations, and then it reflects back. Through this reflection, one can understand, yes, there was an object here. So what this body does is that it absorbs the radiations. It does not, it ensures that these radiations are not sent back. So this is how it evades the detection. So this is how it is stealth. and it is a guided missile destroyer. That means the missile will be guided in its path. Once sent, it will not be forgotten. It will be guided. It will get guidance from evac systems. Evac system is the placed high in the sky. There would be eye in the sky system. We have studied that system. It may be mounted on an aircraft, or it could be satellite driven as well, right? So they will be guiding the missile about the whereabouts of the target, right? You would have seen this in movies. You should watch that movie, Tom Cruise's movie, Top Gun. Top Gun 2 is going to come very soon. It should come. It was because of Corona that they held that movie. It's called as Maverick. Maverick is the movie. Top Gun Part 2. Wow, what a movie. So this is the update. The fourth one is Bullock cart racing. Important one. Quite an important, again, environment, culture versus rights of animals versus natural progression. See, this is a multiple level debate. So what happens is that India, conducts these kind of events, bull race, and then we have Kambala, and then we also have Jallikattu. What is the event about? Is it about torturing the animal? Okay, this is one perspective. Is it also about knowing which bull or which animal can exceedingly perform well in the race? Yes, it is also about that. And through understanding which bull can, be one of the first ones to compete in the race, through this, what we understand is that this particular bull is of superior race, superior quality. So let us use them for breeding. So this is what is called as, natural progression, survival of the fittest. So they will start feeding that bull well. They will start ensuring that that bull is used for, more, genes, propagation of races, and mating purposes. So this is one aspect of it, right? Progression of the race. The second aspect is from the perspective of animal rights. We are not treating the bull well. In fact, one of the allegations was that bull are not the ideal animals for races. One should use horses. So there was a research conducted by various states. This is the Maharashtra state that we are talking of. Maharashtra also conducted a research and spoke about why bull races are important. And then is when it was allowed permission by the state so that it could carry out the bull races, right? Also when other states are carrying out these races, why Maharashtra should refrain out of it? So this is one of the one other contention, right? No reason to disallow it when similar sport were going on in other states as well, right? Preserving superior breeds. This is it, right? Okay, what else? So after Tamil Nadu enacted a law to regulate Jallikattu. Regulate Jallikattu means they ensured that good treatment to animal was given, and they still carried out this kind of thing, right? The Supreme Court said, under quotes, one country, one race, we need to have a uniformity, and that has to be one rule. If races are going on in other states, why should we not allow Maharashtra as well? All right, that is why in news. Okay, so any comments here? Good evening, Rajput. Then we have Vani ethics. Yes, see, Manvinder, preservation of local breeds. Absolutely, preservation of local breeds. So when we talk about local breeds, you should look at the imported variety of cows and bulls that we have in our country. Cows and buffaloes. Are the imported varieties working as well? No, they are not. They are giving good productivity, as far as milk is concerned. But this is what is called as preservation of the indigenous varieties, because they are most well suited to Indian conditions. The climate, the temperature, the kind of food that they eat, right? They do not need imported grasses, imported alfalfa grasses. So because of this, the productivity of local breed also is high. We need to preserve their genes. How do we do that? By ensuring survival of the fittest, by ensuring that that particular bull or ox breeds with our cows and buffaloes. So this race is one of the cultural means. See, this is also a part of culture. Jallikattu was in question in Tamil Nadu also because it was a part of culture and it was being opposed by the animal rights and Supreme Court. So it is also a part of economy. Holding these kind of events is a part of economy. Making the Jallikattu event happen is a huge economy in local parts of Tamil Nadu. You should look at all these from multiple perspectives. That's it. That's the point. All right. So the editorials for today. The first one is Russia-West equation matters to India. Right? So this talks about the equation between 5-6 major powers around the world. we talk about USA at one hand, European Union at the other, and then we have Russia just aside, and then we have India and China. See, I have been receiving inputs that I speak very fast, and the reason I don't want to speak very fast, but the reason I speak fast is that you get the right content, you get an understanding and awareness. You do not have to read and look for various materials. Your understanding should not get restricted, and that is the reason I speak fast. Yes, what gets compromised here a little is that if one is not focused enough, right? If one is not listening powerfully, then we lose on important content. So be focused. This is one thing I'll request, and I will also try to curtail down my speed. So the 5 powers are USA, European Union, Russia, China, and India. Now, the equation in the Asia is shaping the equation of West as well. West, that means European Union, Russia, and all this relationship. And this is a very, very welcome change. Why? Because the whole of West of the world is now dependent on East on how they should be acting. This is a very welcome thing. Now, all the countries around the world are around countering China. We saw the kind of forex reserves China has. We also saw kind of GDP China has, the dominance it has in East Asian region. So because of this, USA is trying to counter China, right? This is one thing in the background. India is also not happy with China. So USA and European Union have got a military alliance called as Nato. Now USA also wants to counter Russia in some or the other way, because we have covered the story of Russia and Ukraine. No, some part of Ukraine, that is Crimea, was annexed by Russia on the pretext that yes, people wanted freedom from Ukraine. So Russia has taken that part, but alongside, NATO is also increasing its presence. Where NATO wants that Georgia, a country in Eastern Europe, and another country, Ukraine, they become a part of NATO. If they become a part of NATO, European Union, USA, they all will protect these countries. They will also put THAAD missile systems and other missile systems. Russia is not happy. Russia says that I want a renewed agreement saying that you will not be including Georgia and Ukraine in NATO, and I will be happy. I will withdraw my soldiers. There will be no tension in the border. Now, Russia wants this agreement. Why? Is Russia naturally inclined to warring with European Union? No, it doesn't want that. See, Russia doesn't want this, and USA also doesn't want to war with Russia. Why? Because if USA indulges in this kind of war, it will have 2 fronts of war. One with Russia in Europe, and one with China in East Asia. It just wants to focus at one place. So because of this kind of equation, China gains prominence, India also gains prominence. They want to become friends with India. Europe also wants to become friends with India. Now, this was not so. This article only talks about little historical perspective also. This was not so during the times of 19th century or 20th century, where Russia, although was with European Union and Europe and USA, but it had a different ideology. Now, ideology was leftist, other countries were rightist, and this is the reason they broke off, no? The union broke off. So now, all the countries are only working towards their self-interest, not ideology. Russia's self-interest is that its neighborhood should not be into war. It does not want to spend like that. It is already an economy which is not as prosperous as it was 30 years back. And this is written, because 30 years back, this was the week when the USSR, erstwhile USSR, it disintegrated. So Russia, although wants to create better friendship with China, but the urgency for it is to handle this war. And that is why Russia will do everything to compromise. So will USA, right? So this is the update from here. This is the one I wanted to discuss in details. The other one, very shortly, I would like to share with you what rising equality means. See, so Shabir sir spoke, no? He spoke that content kitna diverse ho, ya kitna focused ho. How much can we pick out of what has been offered to us? This becomes important. One of my mentors used to say that even if you are thrown the shit, even if somebody throws cow dung to you, you should be able to create something out of it. So create fuel out of it, create cow dung cake, use it somewhere, right? Create the fertilizers, biofertilizers out of it. So if I throw at you, what does rising inequality means? You should look at current affairs that you have read, or what is in your mind. The first thing, type out what's in your mind. The first thing that comes to my mind when we talk of inequality is the inequality reports that we have spoken of, right? So many times we have repeated 50% of the people, 10% of the income or 10% of their less than 10% of their income or less than 10% of their assets. And top 10% people and more than 50%, quite more in fact, income, and if you go to asset, even 60 to 70% of that, that's what they have. So 50, 10 and 10, 50, this is what you should remember. You should also remember that if it is about inequality in a socialist economy, in a mixed economy, government will always try to balance it. Remember the directive principles of state policy, right? Equal distribution of wealth. See, this is what the article speaks of. Inequality, aversion by the state. But this concentration of wealth, this becomes so much. And I had shown the graph that post 1991, this inequality has only increased in India and in the world, right? Although inequality between different countries has reduced, but inequality inside the country has increased. That means that India has started to share the results of the benefits, but that benefit is only towards the wealthier country, right? Wealthier people in the country, right? So the government focus should be on reducing the gaps. How can it do? How much taxation should it do? That is not the only means. Another means is education, health services, differential treatment of people. See? So this should come out of you guys, right? So let me see who has typed what about it. Manvind says, Peta, about the last article. Chetanshi says, your speech pace is good, normal, understandable. Thank you. Rajput, why Russia hates NATO? Russia doesn't hate NATO, just that Russia is protective about its own, own economy. I'll share about that. Income inequality. Yes, Chetanshi, income inequality, wealth inequality. Yes. Sam says, communication skills. Thank you, Sam. Rajput asked why Russia hates NATO. See, erstwhile USSR, because of the Cold War times, there were two factions formed. One faction was NATO, formed in the 1940s and 50s, right? Association of those countries, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And the other association, what was the name? Can somebody tell me the name of the other association which was led by USSR and countries with communist ideology? Anybody? So these two were, into Cold War with each other. These were the military, military leadership, association of nations with military leadership and military leadership. This faction broke off because USSR did not exist anymore. But the countries, individual countries did exist. No, there were 10, 12, 15 countries which were formed out of the USSR breakdown. And because of this, some of the countries, they went ahead and joined the European Union economies, and some of them, they still try to retain friendship with Russia, right? So anybody, what is the group of this country is called as? So getting back to rising inequality, right? So this is the article in focus, right? Rising inequality, what should the countries do around the world? Let me see what Ashish has written. Manvendra says pocket expenditure. Yes, good. Out-of-pocket expenses in health creates inequalities in COVID era. Absolutely correct. Also, participation in governance is important for eliminating inequality. Okay. Participating in governance. Okay, good. But give example. You got to give example. How participation in government will increase equality around the country, right? This third article is about WHO, and it says that just waiver to intellectual property will not do. Waiver to intellectual property will not do. See, I have spoken about this multiple times that if WTO says that fine, there is waiver to the kind of product that we have created. If we have created, just an example, AstraZeneca, pharma has created a Covishield, suppose, and if another company, Moderna, has created another vaccine. So if these advanced countries, UK or USA, these countries have given a waiver, चलो आप भी create कर लो vaccine, you also create your own vaccine, तो क्या ये Burundi in one of the poor nations in Africa, will it be able to create or utilize this waiver? No, it doesn't have enough manpower. It does not have finances. It does not have technology. It will take 100 years for Burundi to even imagine that it can create, without offenses to a country, right? Burundi is one of the countries where there is a very good equitable relationship between males and females. So it has also got its advantages. They have tribal, lot of tribal indigenous knowledge that they have. But as compared to the research and development or developed nations, it is not anywhere close, very, very far. Dikhega hi nahi. So point being that this waiver is not enough. We will have to empower the other countries. We will have to increase the supply. We will also have to empower the countries, give them the technology. So this is what the article focuses on, right? So give them the key technology, dear. Give them the manufacturing know-how. Otherwise, only waiver will not work, right? So this is what is creating inequity in immunization, right? And with now the Omicron looming, it is said that in India, we will have as many as 15 lakh cases per day. And there is data to prove that there are deaths happening because of Omicron also. But its transmissibility is high. The effect is not as high. This is what is being said. There is still research going on in public space. Another important update about the Omicron is that it might peak in India in the month of February 2022. Okay. This case study, and before we get on to the case study, do share some love on us if you like this endeavor through likes, comments and shares. If you subscribe to the channel, you will receive these kind of interesting video notifications every time, right? So do share some love through likes, comments and shares. Now, this case study is of the girl who was the first one in her village to be able to complete education, right? School education, despite the patriarchal system in the village. The village school offered only classes up to class 5, the junior classes, and she would have to travel 3-4 kilometers away from her village to be able to attend classes. She has not only studied herself, being the first person to educate herself. I wish I could show the image of Jyoti here, but very inspiring. She also initiated an NGO in which she could help other people get more aware. Now, this is not just about rights. This is not just about rights. This is also about human rights, and more than human rights, this is about duty, right? Duty of the society as a whole to be able to help each other, right? Jyoti has done her part, and we are doing our part right now by studying, right now being participating. And yeah, remember the A-deck principle. People who are new, we follow an A-deck principle. All of the people who are in the video, they do. At least I know that they do. What do? Is that they pick up keywords of analysis. Analysis ke keywords, right? Analysis kya tha? For example, the article that we spoke of the Indian missile system, the analysis was the speed, maneuverability. That was the only analysis. Some of the analysis could be keyword also, right? So keyword note karna hai exam ke liye. Case, pick up the cases from here, and these cases can also become example. Example is a very small, the case of bull cart racing in Maharashtra. This is an example. But if you want to put it as case, you talk about that bull racing, because of increasing in the capacity of the indigenous bulls. So 3 or 4 points. You will put cases and examples from here, and you will also pick up data points. There are innumerable data points every day that we provide that you can use for paper 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the complete solution for your current affairs. Just that we have to start learning to use it. That is the important thing. And this is where we conclude the conversation on the current affairs today. We will also meet immediately after in the video for discussion on the marriage age for the persons in India, right? So let me see if somebody have something to ask. Warsaw Pact, absolutely, Netra. It is what Warsaw Pact that we are talking of. All right. Some people have some questions. Warsaw Pact, absolutely, Warsaw Pact. Technology transfer, yes. Ravi, welcome. Babani says analysis, yes. Manvin says right to education, all right. Yes, here in this case study, right to education. Analysis, data, example, case study, and keywords. Okay, great. So I will see you right in the next video in a very short while. So be there. We have delayed a little today because of the other video, but everything is for good only, right? So Pooja asks E for examples. E for examples. Yes, E for examples. Case studies are for C for case study, D for data. See, Bhavani has typed it here. So I will see you guys in the next video, right? Be there. Is there new students also today? No. There is no new timing here. There is no new timing. We'll meet at 6 p.m. only tomorrow evening. It's just that it was shifted because of the other video, right? E stands for, am I audible to you? Yes. E stands for example. Thank you.